When Earth whispered, the Galaxies went silent. Part 1. The signal they should have feared. For 3,000 galactic cycles, no species had ever defied the Dominion. The Dominion did not conquer planets. World after world bent the knee, not because we're weak, but because resistance was mathematically impossible. Their fleets darkened stars. Their weapons rewrote gravity. Their diplomacy simple: submit or erased. They found Earth. At first, humanity was categorized as irrelevant, a pre-unified civilization, politically fragmented, emotionally volatile, technologically primitive. The Dominion's analysts logged humanity as Category 7, develop and harvest. They had no idea. The arrival. It began with a shadow across the sun. Satellites failed, global networks flickered, astronomers panicked, and then message came, not through radio, not through quantum relay, but directly into every communication network on Earth. Every phone, every satellite feed, a single symbol. A circle surrounded by 13 rotating shards, the mark, the Dominion. Then the translation followed. Civilization of Sol 3. You are now under evaluation for integration. Resistance is statistically irrelevant. Governments convened emergency councils. Markets crashed. Religious leaders called it Judgment Day. But deep beneath the Swiss Alps, in a facility the public know existed, humanity did not panic. They activated protocol. Whisper. What the Dominion know. The Dominion believed humanity divided. They weren't wrong. But what they know was that humans unify fastest when threatened. Within 6 hours, rival nations shared classified weapons research. Within 12 hours, private corporations released restricted AI systems. Within 24 hours, the first human-built interstellar stealth vessel left orbit. The Dominion saw it, not because their sensors failed, but because humans didn't try to hide from the Dominion's sensors. They hid in the Dominion's assumptions. The first mistake. The Dominion sent a single cruiser, a message of power. It entered Earth's orbit like a god descending. Cities watched its metallic spires shimmer against the stars. It did not fire. It did not threaten. It simply waited. Dominion's strategy was psychological. They wanted to beg. Earth transmitted reply. A single sentence, translated perfectly into Dominion high code. You should. The Dominion laughed. No species had ever told them to retreat. They responded with standard intimidation procedure. A precision strike. One uninhabited island. A demonstration of power. The ocean boiled. The island vaporized. Billions watched. Silence followed. The cruiser disappeared, not exploded, not damaged. Gone, vanished from existence. Dominion sensors registered no energy spike, no warp signature, just absence. For the first time in recorded Dominion history, a council chamber fell silent. Humanity's secret. Beneath Arctica, buried under kilometers of ice, humanity been preparing, not for invasion, but for extinction. Asteroid defense programs had evolved into gravitational manipulation research. Quantum computing projects had turned into predictive war simulations. Dark energy experiments had gone further than reported. 50 years ago, a human physicist asked a forbidden question. What if space isn't travel through? What if space is we can fold? They called it the Veil engine. The Dominion called it impossible. The cruiser was not destroyed. It was recated, precisely, carefully, placed in orbit, around, whole, alive, tact, trapped. The message Earth sent afterward was calm, measured, terrifying. This adoration. The galaxy reacts. News of the vanished cruiser spread faster than light, because fear travels quicker than physics. Vassal worlds whispered rebellion. Independent systems began scanning Earth's transmissions. For time. The Dominion was not the only apex predator in the sky, and they didn't know how strong humanity truly was. That certainty was humanity's greatest weapon. The Dominion's second move. The Dominion did not rage. They did not threaten. They escalated. 3 fleets mobilized, not to destroy Earth, but study it. Because what frightened the Dominion most was not human weapons. It was human unpredictability. Their psychological profiles were chaos. Humans sacrificed themselves for strangers. Humans fought losing wars for principle. Humans hid problems and then weaponized the solutions. The Dominion Council reached a conclusion. Humanity must be integrated quickly before it becomes something uncontrollable. Earth's final warning. As 3 Dominion fleets entered the Sol system, Earth, one final transmission. No insults, no displays of power. Just, we warned you once. The next lesson will not be gentle. Then Earth, dark. Every satellite powered down. Every city dimmed. Every detectable vanished. To Dominion, sirs. Earth, dead. Was the second stake. Part 2. The Silent War. When Earth went dark, the galaxy, its breath. 3 Dominion fleets entered the Sol system in perfect formation. 72 capital warships, 400 destroyers, orbital pression platforms, planetary sterilization arrays. They did not come for negotiation. They came for control. But something was wrong. There were no fence satellites, no missile platforms, no visible fleets, no military chatter. The blue planet simply rotated in silence. Clouds drifting, oceans calm, cities. The Dominion scanned for hidden installations. They found nothing. They scanned for cloaked vessels. Nothing. They scanned for quantum anomalies. Nothing. Earth looked afraid. But humanity was not afraid. Humanity, patient. The strategy no one expected. In the Dominion's doctrine, conflict was overwhelming force. Crush resistance quickly, prevent, maintain psychological superiority. Humans studied that doctrine and did the opposite. Instead of meeting the fleets with firepower, they attacked information. The first Dominion destroyer malfunctioned 12 minutes after entering orbit. Its navigation system recalculated its own position. It drifted. Minor. Embarrassing. Then a second vessel misfired its thrusters. Then a third ship's internal gravity fluctuated. Then communication between ships began experiencing microsecond delays. Insignificant to organic minds. Catastrophic, synchronized fleet combat. The Dominion ran diagnostics. No viruses. No intrusion. No sabotage. And that's when their war priests realized the truth. The humans weren't inside systems. They were inside physics. The Whisper Protocol. 50 years before first contact, human scientists stopped trying to build bigger weapons. They started studying constants. The speed of light. Quantum ability. Dark interaction. What they discovered terrified them. The universe, stable, but only barely. Tiny fluctuations existed at microscopic levels. Fluctuations that could be encouraged. The Veil engine was not just transportation. It was influence. It allowed humanity to apply microscopic pressure to spacetime itself. Not enough to break it, just enough to nudge probability. And war is probability. Missiles miss by centimeters. Shields fail by fractions. Coordinates shift by decimals. Humans didn't need to overpower the Dominion. They only needed to make them unlucky. Very unlucky. The first fleet falls. The Dominion ordered a synchronized orbital descent. All 72 capital ships aligned weapons. Planetary intimidation protocol. Fire at 0.0001% yield. Enough to scar continents. Enough to remind humanity who ruled the stars. The countdown began. 5, 4, and then every targeting solution shifted by 0.000003 degrees. To a Dominion AI, that variance was impossible. To human, it was deliberate. The fleets fired, their beams crossed, and struck their own ships. Not catastrophic, but devastating enough. 3 capital ships were crippled, 8 destroyers torn apart. Confusion rippled across Dominion command. Humans had not fired a single shot, but the Dominion fleet was already bleeding. The Dominion adapts. They isolated ship networks, manual control overrides. Organic commanders took direct control. No AI reliance. But the second was prepared. This time, no synchronization. Randomized firing patterns, redundant targeting. The Dominion had learned. Humanity had predicted that, because humanity's greatest weapon was not the Veil engine. It was simulation. For decades, quantum AIs beneath Antarctica had run war games, trillions of scenarios. Every Dominion strategy modeled, every possible counter calculated. Humans didn't respond to Dominion tactics. They responded to Dominion decisions before they were made. The second strike never happened because something else occurred first. The disappearance. One Dominion capital ship, the largest in the formation, began to vibrate, not externally, internally. Its mass readings fluctuated, gravity spiked. Its commander ordered emergency retreat. Warp drives engaged and tore the ship in half, not from explosion, from tidal forces. For a fraction, a second, a microscopic singularity formed inside its core, then vanished. The Dominion stared at sensor logs in disbelief. Singularities don't just appear, unless someone knows exactly how to bend spacetime. The message from Earth followed instantly. We are adjusting the battlefield. No threats. Just calm explanation. That calmness frightened the Dominion more. Destruction. On Earth, world leaders were not celebrating. They were terrified, because the Veil engine was never meant for war. Every adjustment to space-time carried risk, too much pressure, and the system could cascade. One mistake, and Earth itself could fracture reality locally. Humanity was fighting a war with the fabric of existence as ammunition, and there was no instruction manual. Deep under and ice, Dr. Elara Mirov monitored the probability curves. They were instability creeping. Humanity could not sustain this forever. They needed the Dominion to retreat or escalate. Either outcome would end the uncertainty. The Dominion's realization. The Dominion Council convened emergency war doctrine revision. For the first time, they classified a species as existential variable, not enemy, not variable. Something unpredictable enough to destabilize the Dominion itself. Their analysts reached a horrifying conclusion. If humanity continued advancing unchecked, within 2 centuries, they could rival Dominion core technologies. Within 5, surpass them, and humans evolved fast. 2. The Dominion had 2 options: annihilate completely or negotiate. But annihilation now carried risk. Because if humans could manipulate spacetime locally, what would happen if cornered? Would they collapse a star, create a system-wide singularity, weaponize decay? The Dominion was no longer certain they could win safely, and the moment an empire doubts victory, it begins to weaken. The silent counterattack. As Dominion fleets regrouped, humanity executed Phase 2. Not an attack on ships, not a gravitational strike, but something subtler. Across the galaxy, Dominion communication flickered, then replayed message in thousands of languages. To every world. To every conquered civilization, you are not alone. Attached were sensor logs, proof of damaged Dominion fleets, proof of vulnerability, proof that the Empire could bleed. Rebellion is not born from strength. It is born from ability. Within hours, 3 outer systems declared independence, then 5, then 12. The Dominion had not just encountered a military threat. They had encountered an idea. And ideas spread faster than fleets. The moment, decision, back in Seoul. The remaining Dominion ships pulled back to defensive formation. They did not fire. They did not advance. Force. Earth. Dark. Silent. Patient. Then the Dominion flagship transmitted a private channel to Earth. Not a broadcast. A direct, encrypted beam. The message, simple. What do you want? And in Antarctica, humanity finally allowed itself to respond. Part 3. The Terms of Survival. The Dominion ruled for millennia. They did not negotiate with emerging civilizations. They absorbed them. They optimized them. They assigned them roles in the greater machinery of empire. But Earth was not behaving like machinery. Earth was behaving like a mind, a danger. When the Dominion flagship asked, "What do you want?" humanity did not respond immediately. Silence, intentional. Silence builds pressure. In orbit, Dominion commanders calculated worst-case scenarios. Planetary detonation risk, unknown. Spacetime destabilization risk, increasing. Probability manipulation escalation, unpredictable. On Earth, leaders gathered in the Antarctic chamber. Military generals, scientists, diplomats, psychologists, because this was no longer a war of weapons. It was a war of positioning. Dr. Elara Mirov stood before the Global Council. "If we demand independence," she said calmly, "they will return later with larger fleets. If demand alliance, they will infiltrate and dominate. If we annihilation, we risk forcing escalation we cannot survive." The room was silent. Then someone asked the question no one wanted to answer. What if we don't? Anything. Humanity's advantage. The Dominion believed power meant control. Humans understood something deeper. Power, leverage. The Veil engine had proven something critical. Humanity could influence local spacetime, but more importantly, the scale. Dominion technology was stable, mature, predictable. Human technology was volatile, experimental, exponential. The Dominion plateaued. Humanity had not. And that terrified them. So humanity decided to weaponize that fear. The response, a transmission, Earth, clear, measured, controlled, not a threat, not surrender. A statement. We do not war. We do not seek dominion. We seek autonomy. Pause. Then the second line. But understand this. If forced extinction, we will not fall alone. Dominion translators confirmed accuracy. No exaggeration, no emotional tone, just logic. That line unsettled the council deeply, because it was rational, and rational threats are the most dangerous. The Dominion divides. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion Council fractured. One faction demanded total annihilation. Eliminate the anomaly before it spreads. Another faction urged caution. If they destabilize spacetime on planetary scale, collateral damage could ripple across systems. A third faction suggested something unprecedented. Recognition, not equality. Not alliance, but classification as a sovereign variable power. That suggestion was nearly unthinkable. The Dominion did not share authority, but they also did not gamble with existential instability. Earth was becoming a statistical hazard, and empires survive by minimizing hazards. Humanity's hidden move. While the Dominion debated, Earth, the Veil engine, was recalibrated, not for offense, not for fleet disruption, but projection, a microscopic demonstration, far from Seoul, far from Dominion fleets. In an uninhabited star system, a star flickered just once, a brief fluctuation in fusion output. Not enough damage, but enough to be measurable. Dominion observatories detected it instantly. They traced the anomaly back to Earth. It was not weapon strike. It was a signal. Humanity had just proven something far more terrifying than fleet destruction. They could reach beyond their system. Not fully, not permanently. Enough to imply growth, enough imply potential. And potential is what frightens ancient powers most, the psychological edge. Dominion analysts ran long-term projections. If humans refined the Veil engine, if probability manipulation scaled, if stellar fluctuation could be amplified, then in centuries, humanity could theoretically threaten core Dominion systems, not through fleets, but through physics itself. And humans were reckless innovators. They experimented under pressure. They advanced fastest when cornered. The Dominion faced a new reality. Every year survived. It grew more dangerous. Earth's demand. The Dominion flagship transmitted again. Define autonomy parameters. That was the moment. The moment humanity had engineered from the beginning. They didn't ask for protection. They didn't ask for resources. They didn't ask for territory. They asked for one thing: recognition as an independent stellar civilization, non-interference clause, open but voluntary trade corridors, mutual non-aggression pact. Simple on the surface, but hidden inside that request was the real strategy: time. If the Dominion accepted, humanity gained centuries to develop uninterrupted. If they refused, humanity would escalate unpredictably. The Dominion stood, and that the problem. They could not calculate human ceilings. They could only estimate trajectories, and the trajectory steep, the unexpected variable. As negotiations hovered, a new signal appeared. Not Earth, not from Dominion. From the outer rebellion systems, 12 newly independent worlds transmitted a joint declaration. They cited Earth's resistance as proof that the Dominion could be challenged. They requested alliance with Sol. Humanity had not planned that. This organic movements are impossible to fully simulate. Now the Dominion faced something worse than a powerful species. They faced separation. If Earth, a symbol, rebellions would multiply. Dominion stability would fracture. Their empire had survived millennia through inevitability. Humanity had just broken an inevitability. The final calculation. Dominion war priests computed the ultimate scenario. Option 1. Destroy Earth. Risk: spacetime destabilization. System-level catastrophe. Galactic rebellion spike. Option 2. Withdraw. Risk: empire appears weak. Option 3. Recognize. Risk: long-term rival civilization. Every option carried danger, but only one minimized immediate chaos. The Dominion flagship transmitted its final response. Conditional recognition accepted. Sol 3 designated sovereign variable power. Non-interference enforced. Trade corridor. Observation done. The fleets powered down weapons. Formation shifted from aggression to withdrawal. Across cities lit up again. Signals turned. Humanity had survived first contact without render, without total war, without annihilation. But in Antarctica, Dr. Ilara Mirov did not celebrate, because she knew something others did not. The probability curves were still rising. The Veil engine had altered more than battles. It had drawn attention from places beyond the Dominion. Places older, quieter, and first time, something else in the dark adjusted its focus toward Earth. Part 4. The things older than empires. The Dominion fleets withdrew from Sol in perfect order. No panic, no visible damage, no admission of weakness. To the outside galaxy, it looked diplomatic. It felt like retreat. Across Earth, celebrations ignited. Lights returned to cities. Markets stabilized. Religions proclaimed destiny fulfilled. Children pointed at the sky, unaware how close extinction had been. But beneath Antarctica, in the chamber surrounding the Veil engine, the air felt heavy. Dr. Ilara Mirov stared at the probability graphs. They weren't stabilizing. They were fluctuating in patterns she had never seen. Not random, not chaotic, responsive, as if something was answering. The echo. 3 hours after Dominion withdrawal, the first anomaly appeared, not in Sol, not near Earth, at the edge of the galactic core, a region long avoided by the Dominion, officially labeled, gravitationally able, unofficially forbidden. A star collapsed, not supernova, not black hole formation, collapsed, vanished. No radiation burst, no debris, no gravitational shockwave. It simply ceased to exist. Dominion observatories froze because kind of event was impossible. Another star flickered, this time closer, as if something was testing, measuring, moving outward. The Dominion's hidden fear. The Dominion had ruled for thousands of cycles, but there were regions of space they never entered, not because they couldn't, but because, long ago, something else had claimed them. Ancient Dominion records, sealed from public knowledge, spoke of an encounter, not war, not observation. Their early explorers had found megastructures orbiting dead stars, structures older their species, older their empire, emitting faint gravitational distortions. Watching the Dominion survival, they withdrew and pretended those regions did not exist. Those distortions were active again, and they were facing outward, towards Sol. Humanity notices. In Antarctica, Veil engine sensors registered a pulse, a gravitational ripple, so subtle that without probability modeling would have been ignored. But humans were now experts in subtlety. The ripple, random. It matched the harmonic signature of the Veil engine's earlier stellar flicker demonstration. Something had detected it and responded. Dr. Mirov whispered the words no one wanted to hear. We weren't the only ones adjusting the battlefield. The silent transmission. Every Dominion core system received an encrypted alert. Ancient classification, highest secrecy tier. Observer activity detected. The council chamber dimmed. War priests reactivated archives untouched for millennia. They showed humanity something the Dominion had never admitted publicly. The galaxy was layered. Young species fought wars, empires, and fell. But beneath noise, there were watchers, entities or intelligences that did not conquer, did not negotiate, did not communicate. They monitored civilizations that approached certain thresholds: energy manipulation, space-time influence, stellar engineering. And if a species crossed an unknown boundary, it vanished. No debris, no ruins, just absence. The Dominion had survived by never crossing that line. Humanity just stepped over it. Earth, the truth. The Dominion did something unprecedented. They transmitted classified archives to Earth. No edits, no omissions. The message was simple. Your actions have triggered observer attention. Cease further space-time manipulation immediately. For the first time, the Dominion's tone carried something unfamiliar, not authority. On Earth, the Global Council studied the data. Megastructures orbiting neutron stars, gravitational lenses larger than solar systems, regions of space with natural entropy signatures. This, not myth, it was recorded. Avoided. Approaching the debate. Earth. Military officials demanded readiness. If something is coming, we prepare. Scientists urged caution. If they are millions of years ahead of us, we cannot fight them conventionally. Philosophers asked the deeper question: why do they intervene? Dr. Mirov focused on the data patterns. The Watchers didn't react to war. They didn't react to genocide. They didn't react to empire expansion. They reacted to threshold technologies. Specifically, large-scale manipulation of space-time constants. Humanity hadn't triggered them by resisting. They triggered them by proving capability. The Veil engine was not a weapon to the Watchers. It was signal flare, the first appearance. It did not arrive fleet formations. It did not warp to Sol. It was simply there, beyond Pluto. A structure the size of a moon. Mathematically precise, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. Every sensor on Earth locked onto it. Dominion fleets, already retreating, halted instantly because they recognized the silhouette from ancient records. The Watchers had never approached this close before, not to any known civilization. Earth's communications arrays attempted contact. No response. Dominion encryption protocols attempted contact. No response. The object did not emit weapons fire. It did not move aggressively. It just observed. But its mere presence distorted local space-time. The Veil engine's readings spiked uncontrollably, as if two hands were pressing on opposite sides of reality. The realization. Dr. Mirov saw it first. They're not here to destroy us. The object's energy signature aligned precisely with the Veil engine's output frequency. Not identical, but harmonious, like a parent tone and its echo. Studying did it. Humanity had become interesting, not threatening, not. And in a universe ruled by ancient intelligences, interest could be far more dangerous than hostility. Dominion's warning. The Dominion flagship transmitted one final advisory: shut down Veil engine, permanent. You have achieved sovereignty. Do not pursue escalation. It was the closest thing to advice the Dominion had ever given another species, because they understood something humans were only beginning to grasp. The Watchers did not destroy civilizations instantly. They evaluated. And evaluation meant criteria. Unknown criteria. Humanity stood at a crossroads. Power, Veil engine, remain a strong but conventional civilization, or continue pushing the boundary and risk drawing the full attention of entities older than stars. Earth's decision. The world waited. For the first time, first contact. Humanity was not deciding between war and peace, but between safety and evolution. Dr. Mirov looked at the Veil engine's core. It pulsed softly. Humanity's greatest achievement, and, potentially, its death sentence. Then spoke. If intelligence exists beyond us, hiding will not save us. Stagnation is extinction delayed. The Council voted, not unanimously, but decisively. The Veil engine powered up, not at combat output, not at demonstration levels, but higher before, beyond limits, beyond Dominion safety thresholds, beyond what the Watchers had previously monitored. In orbit, the ancient structure shifted for the first time, and the entire solar system felt it. Not a sound, not as a shockwave, but as a pressure in the mind, a presence, acknowledging. And somewhere in the void, something older than empires began to calculate humanity. Part 5. The evaluation. When the Veil engine crossed its previous limits, the solar system trembled, not physically, not violently, but subtly, as if reality itself had tightened. Beyond Pluto, the Watcher structure responded. Its surface unfolded, not mechanically, but dimensionally. Edges extended into angles that should not exist. Sections phased slightly out of visible spectrum. Human instruments failed to fully map it, because it wasn't just in space. It was partially embedded in something deeper. Space-time curvature spiked across the system. The Dominion fleets drew further. They did not flee. They risked boundaries. They had seen this before, but never close. Never centered on a living, developing civilization. The silence that followed. No weapons. No communication. For 13 minutes, nothing happened. Then every human on Earth felt it. A pressure behind the eyes. A sudden stillness. Birds stopped mid-flight. Ocean waves flattened momentarily. Electrical grids flickered, but did not fail. The Watcher had done precise, localized, selective. It wasn't scanning infrastructure. It was scanning minds. The first contact. Not through radio, not sound, but structure. Every major observatory on Earth simultaneously received the same mathematical sequence. Prime, then variations, then something more complex. A representation of the Veil engine's energy pattern. Correct. Refined. The message was unmistakable. We see, built. And this is how you built it incorrectly. Dr. Mirov's hands trembled as she reviewed the data. The corrections were real. They reduced instability by 43%. They eliminated cascade risk. They stabilized probability distortion curves. The Watcher was not attacking. It was evaluating and offering optimization. In Dominion Command, alarms escalated because this had never happened before. In ancient records, civilizations that crossed the threshold were either ignored or erased, never listed. The war priests analyzed the pattern exchange. It matched historical Watcher signatures, but this behavior was new, which meant one thing: humanity was being tested, not exterminated, tested. And the Dominion did know the criteria for passing: humanity's realization. The message continued: more sequences, more corrections, then deeper. A model, a simulation of galaxy-scale space-time networks, filaments connecting star systems, energy flows not visible in conventional astrophysics. The Watchers were not policing weapons. They were policing balance. Civilizations that manipulated space-time recklessly could destabilize larger gravitational harmonics, create chain reactions, trigger vacuum decay, collapse cosmic filaments. The Dominion had stopped advancing in certain fields because they learned this boundary. Humanity had stumbled directly into it. The Watchers were not conquerors. They were regulators, caretakers of cosmic stability. Humanity was being measured for responsibility. The trial, the final data packet arrived. A simulation scenario, a choice. Within the model was a star system, 2 inhabited worlds, one facing extinction from stellar instability. The only solution: large-scale space-time manipulation, high energy, high risk. The Watcher's message embedded in the math was clear: show us how you would act. This wasn't intelligence. It wasn't about capability. It was about restraint, about ethics at cosmic scale. The divide on Earth. The simulation ran in Antarctic supercomputers. If humanity applied maximum Veil engine output, both planets could be saved. But probability instability risked ripple effects beyond the system. If they limited output, one planet survive, one would not. Billions simulated lives in the balance. The Global Council fractured. Save both, military leaders argued. Power to be used. Scientists warned of cascading unknowns. Philosophers asked a heavier question: do we gamble with the galaxy to avoid tragedy? Dr. Mirov studied the larger harmonic model. The Watchers weren't asking if humans could save everyone. They were asking if humans understood consequence, the decision. Humanity chose the limited output. One world stabilized. The other was lost in simulation. Billion gone. The probability curves outside the system remained stable. The greater galactic structure held. It was not a heroic decision. It was not emotionally satisfying. It's disciplined, responsible. The simulation transmitted back to the Watcher. Silence. For a long, unbearable minute, nothing happened. The response. The Watcher structure shifted again, this time not outward. Its dimensional distortions stabilized, its gravitational pressure eased, and a final data pulse reached Earth. Not correction, not simulation. A designation, translated loosely into human language. Thralled species. Provisionally approved. The Dominion froze, because that designation had appeared only twice in their deepest archives, both times referring to civilizations that eventually became something more. Not subjects, not rivals, participants. The one final packet arrived. Star charts. Regions of space previously marked forbidden, now accessible. Energy stabilization methods beyond Dominion capability. Space-time harmonics theory centuries ahead of humanity's understanding. It wasn't charity, it was investment. The Watchers were allowing humanity to grow, but bounds. The structure faded, not warped, not accelerated. It simply phased into higher dimensional alignment. Gone. Solar system readings returned to baseline. The pressure lifted. The sky looked normal again. But nothing was normal anymore. Dominion's fear. The Dominion fleets remained silent because the balance of power had just shifted permanently. Humanity had not just resisted an empire. They had passed an evaluation older than the empire itself. They had been recognized, and recognition meant legitimacy for a time. The Dominion was not the highest acknowledged authority in the galaxy. Earth was no longer a variable. It was factor. On Earth, celebration did not erupt this time. The weight of the decision lingered. Humanity had chosen restraint, chosen responsibility, chosen survival of the whole over emotional impulse. It was the hardest victory yet. Dr. Mirov stood alone in the veil chamber. The engine pulsed steadily, stable, improved, no longer a dangerous experiment, but a controlled experiment. Humanity had crossed a line, not into dominance, but adulthood, and far beyond soul. Other watcher signatures flickered faintly, because once one threshold species emerges, others into watch more closely. The galaxy was changing, not through conquest, not through rebellion, but through qualification. And for the first time in its long history, the Dominion understood something chilling. Humanity had not just survived. Humanity had been invited. Part 6: The War That Lasted 8 Minutes. Recognition changes power structures. It creates instability. Within the Dominion, the Council was divided, but contained. The military was not. High Commander Varex of the 7th Expansion Fleet had built his career on inevitability, on conquest, on the unchallenged supremacy of Dominion order. A primitive species from a minor spiral arm had been granted provisional status by entities older than stars. To Varex, this was humiliation. To his officers, it was unacceptable precedent. If vassal world led to elevation, rebellion would spread beyond control. The Watchers had legitimized Earth, but they had not guaranteed its safety from internal Dominion factions, and Varex decided to act. The unauthorized mobilization. Without councilization, 7 Dominion warships detached from the outer fleet, fast, silent, shielded from standard communication relays. Their objective simple: neutralize engine, not destroy entirely, just cripple the source of its advancement. A surgical strike. Decisive. If Earth survived without its engine, it would stagnate, and stagnation meant containment. Varex calculated an 8-minute engagement window. That was all he needed. Earth's warning. Humanity had learned from the first encounter. Deep space sensors, enhanced by Watcher, provided harmonics theory-detected micro-warp distortions long before the ships entered Pluto's orbit. Dr. Mirov, in panic, she did something more dangerous. She smiled slightly, because scenario had been simulated thousands of times. Humanity had anticipated rogue action. Empires fracture under pressure. They always minun. The 7 Dominion ships dropped from warp in tight formation, weapons already charging. No warning broadcast, no negotiation. Their targeting arrays locked directly onto Antarctica. Pacific. The veil and chamber. Earth did not power down. Earth did not retreat. The veil engine activated at 62% capacity, higher than during the first fleet engagement, lower than Watcher threshold violation. Precise. Dominion ships fired. 7 beams of concentrated stellar energy lanced toward Earth. Halfway transit. Spacetime curvature shifted, not violently, just enough. The beams bent, not back toward the ships, not but into empty solar orbit. Energy dissipated harmlessly. Commander Varex recalculated instantly. He expected ference. He did not expect elegance. Minute 3. Dominion ships deployed gravitational anchors, heavy stabilizers designed to resist probability distortion. This was not their first encounter with space-time anomalies. They adapted quickly. Their second volley corrected for curvature shift. Earth adjusted again. This time, not by bending space, but delaying it. For 0.04 seconds, light moved slower in localized corridors. The beams lost coherence. Frag burst. Humanity wasn't overpowering the attack. They were deconstructing it. Minute 4. Varex escalated. Authorization bypassed. Planetary sterilization charge initiated. This would not scar a continent. It would erase a hemisphere. If fired, Dominion command channels erupted in protest. The Council had not sanctioned this, but communication lag prevented immediate override. Earth detected the energy spike. Probability curves spiked dangerously. Dr. Mirov whispered, "Contain, Troy." Minute 5. The Veil engine surged to 81%. For a second, solar orbit shimmered visibly, not to naked eye, but on every array. The sterilization beam fired and vanished, not deflected, not bent, gone. Every Dominion sensor lost track of it. The beam reappeared. Behind the attacking fleet, momentum preserved, energy tact. The sterilization charge tore through 2 Dominion ships. Clean. No explosion. Just structural collapse. Humanity had not reflected the weapon. They had folded space fabric and stitched the beam back into reality elsewhere. Commander Varex finally felt something unfamiliar. Uncertainty. Minute 6. The remaining 5 ships attempted retreat. Warp drives engaged. Nothing happened. Local space-time density increased subtly. Not a trap. Not a gravity well. Just resistance. Warp fields destabilized. Humanity wasn't imprisoning them. They were slowing the battlefield down, stretching time strategically. Every for Earth was longer than every second for the Dominion. Minute 7. Dominion Council override command reached the fleet. Down immediately, but Varex refused. He initiated overload. If he could win, he would deny humanity its prize. 5 ships began catastrophic chain reactions. Earth responded not with aggression, but micro-singularities formed carefully calculated inside each destabilizing core, not destructive black holes, containment pockets. Each overload collapsed inward silently. Energy compressed, neutralized, no radiation. The ships remained intact, dead space, disarmed, alive. Humanity had disabled, not annihilated. The battlefield went still. 5 immobilized Dominion warships drifted, 2 destroyed by their own redirected weapon. Solar orbit stable. Earth untouched. 8. The shortest war in Dominion recorded history, and the first time a Dominion fleet had been defeated without a single hostile human projectile fired. The aftermath. Dominion Council immediately disavowed Varex's action. They shaken, because Earth had demonstrated something critical, not just strength, control, restraint under attack. Advanced species fear unpredictability, but they respect discipline. Earth transmitted one message to the Dominion: we will not initiate war. No insult, no abrasion, just clarity. The galaxy watches. Across former vassal systems, the footage 8 minutes, 7 warships, no human fleet engagement, no visible casualties on Earth. Rebellion movements surged, not because Earth was violent, but because Earth principled. They defended. They did not dominate. That distinction mattered. The Dominion's realization. In closed council chambers, one conclusion became unavoidable. Humanity was no longer an emerging power. It was a stabilizing one. And empires resist stabilization. Fragged. The Dominion faced a choice: continue, change, or evolve alongside it, because the Watchers had not just approved humanity, they had indirectly restructured galactic hierarchy. No global celebration followed this time. There was relief, but also gravity. Humanity had crossed another boundary, not logical, philosophical. They had proven that power did not require conquest, that victory did not require extermination. Dr. Mirov reviewed the Veil engine logs. Energy efficiency up 12%. Instability, 0. Control, absolute. Humanity, learning fast, and far beyond the spiral arm. Watcher signals flickered again, not in alarm, not in warning, but in acknowledgement, because for the first time in millions of years, a young species had passed evaluation and restraint under fire. Part 7, the Galaxy's New Rule. Empires are built, certainty, certainty of strength, certainty of dominance, certainty that no one will challenge them. Humanity didn't just challenge the Dominion, they removed certainty. And when certainty collapses, everything shifts. The quiet after 8 minutes. The disabled Dominion ships were returned, not as wreckage, not as trophies, but tact, paired. Warp drives functional, weapons removed. Earth transmitted them back across neutral space with a final note attached to their command cores. Your crews deserve to live. That single act echoed louder than the battle itself, because mercy is a language every civilization understands, and fear respects mercy far more than brutality. The Council convenes. For the first time in recorded history, the Dominion Council invited another civilization to attend a closed summit. Earth accepted. The meeting did not occur physically. It occurred in shared quantum projection space, a neutral digital construct where no fleet advantage mattered, representing Earth, not a general, not a politician. Dr. Elara Mirov stood alone in the projection chamber, because this conversation was not about war. It was about trajectory, the new proposal. The Dominion expected demands: territorial expansion, strategic alliances, military pacts. Instead, Earth proposed something unexpected: a Harmonic Accord, not a union, not a federation, but framework. Shared research into spacetime stabilization, joint oversight of high-risk technologies, open trade corridors for voluntary participants, protection for developing civilizations from forced integration. In a rule: no civilization would be conquered, only invited. The Dominion's older members bristled. Conquest had defined them. Integration had fueled their growth. But recent rebellions had strained their outer sectors, and the Watchers' silent approval of humanity changed the calculus. If the Dominion refused, they risked regressive. If they accepted, they evolved. The galaxy reacts. Word of the proposed Harmonic Accord spread rapidly. Former vassal systems pledged alignment. Independent systems requested observer status. Even ancient neutral civilizations longed silent open communication channels. Humanity wasn't forming an empire. They were forming a principle, and principles scale faster than fleets. The Council debated for 6 planetary rotations, economic forecasts, military projections, long-term probability curves. One statistic: everything. Without reform, rebellion probability within 200 cycles, 62%. With Harmonic Accord participation, 9%. The Dominion had ruled through force. But force had diminishing returns. Stability required adaptation. The vote passed. Narrowly, but decisively. The Dominion would sign. The signing. The accord was transmitted across the galaxy as encrypted harmonic code, a gesture. Instead of signatures, each participating civilization embedded a unique space-time frequency marker, a shared commitment to non-coercive expansion. When Earth embedded its marker, the Veil engine pulsed softly, not a weapon, not as a shield, but as a stabilizer. Across monitored regions of space, minor gravitational fluctuations decreased measurably. The Watchers were observing, and they did not intervene, which meant approval. The UN's shift. Over the next decades, Dominion fleets transitioned from conquerors to guardians. Trade increased exponentially. Joint research facilities formed near neutral systems. The Veil engine's derivatives were shared carefully, with strict oversight. Humanity stronger, but so'd everyone else. And something subtle changed in galactic psychology. Young civilizations no longer feared first contact. They prepared for it, because was clear now. No one would be erased for existing. The Watcher's final signal. Years. Accord's formation. A faint signal emerged from the galactic core, not targeted, just present. A harmonic resonance aligning perfectly with the Accord's frequency, then faded. Dr. Mirov stood immediately. The Watchers had not been rulers. They had waiting for a civilization capable of self-restraint, of balancing innovation with responsibility. Humanity had not replaced the Dominion. They had elevated the standard, and the Watchers were no longer alone in maintaining it. The new reality. Earth did not become the most powerful civilization overnight, but it became rarer. In the centuries that followed, humanity expanded slowly, deliberately. Every new system integrated voluntarily. Every technological leap reviewed collectively. The Veil engine evolved into the Harmonic Network, a galaxy-wide stabilization grid ensuring no reckless species could tear spacetime apart accidentally. War did not vanish completely. Conflict still existed, but extinction-level dominance, that era, not through destruction, but through. The Dominion once believed strength meant inevitability. The Watchers believed strength meant responsibility. Humanity proved something deeper. Strength meant choice. The choice to defend without dominating, to innovate without destabilizing, to rise without crushing others beneath you. And because of that, when Earth whispered, the galaxy did not go silent out of fear. It silent out of respect. Far beyond mapped space, in a region still untouched by trade routes, a young civilization detected faint harmonic fluctuations. They had just begun experimenting with gravitational lenses. They were curious, ambitious, unaware. Before they could cross a dangerous threshold, a transmission reached them. Not a warning, not a threat, an invitation. It contained research, stabilization methods, and simple message: you are not alone. The galaxy had changed, not because humanity was the strongest, but because humanity chose to be something better. And somewhere, in dimensions beyond perception, the Watchers adjusted their focus, not but word. That helped.